Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Um, Today's daf is Kesubos daf Chaf number 20. Uh, I was looking over this daf and there's a lot to talk about in this daf. Um, and it was very complicated. And, when I give an Iyun share, luckily I'm able to. The problem with the hard part of giving an Iyun share is that sometimes you feel like you want to give an Iyun share on the whole daf. And to define which part of the daf you want to give an Iyun share is hard to decide. And today, it's not they're all related part of the daf, so you wanna you wanna try to integrate the whole daf. It's gonna take longer than 8 to 10 minutes, and I'm gonna get confused. It's too confusing. And today was one of those days where I just didn't have anything coming to me. You think I give an Iyun share every day. Um, I mean, for those people who have tried to give an Iyun share, first of all, to give it in 8 to 10 minutes is something extraordinary, and to say the least, to give one every single day on every single daf is superhuman. How I'm able to do this, I'm honestly blessed, but I put a lot of hard work into it. I put 15, 20 years of learning Be'iyun on my own into this. I'm able to do this, especially in 10 minutes, to compress it into a small file like that. It's not easy. To zip it. So the truth is that today was one of those days, and luckily I really didn't have anything. Like I have what to say, and I'm just inventing something on the spot. But here I was a lot more guided by one of the Rosh Kolel over here. He asked me a question on today's daf, and this is the famous question that they talk about when it comes to this daf, and when it comes to shtaros, this whole sugya of shtaros in general. The Gemara Rashi quotes over here. The Gemara says that if someone gives edus, right? Can he give it if he wrote down the edus and then he comes to court and he reads the edus from the piece of paper? Is he neman or not? So the Gemara seems to indicate that by edim you are neman. 5 lines from the bottom. He says that even if you don't remember it, you just remember it from reading the paper, right? I saw 10 years ago someone lent someone money. I have no recollection of what happened in my mind, but the piece of paper says it. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, you're believed. The Gemara says, however, if the Baal Din, one of the litigants, reminded you, hey, do you remember this? Then people probably, if they don't remember it from recollection, they're probably going to be, their view is probably blurred by what this person is asking for. He's asking you to remember something. You're going to fabricate something in your mind. And the psak is, unless you're a Surban Rabbanan, whose mind doesn't get blurred so easily. So he's more honest. So we're not believing you because you're relying on, you're being prodded by this person. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, technically if you read from a piece of paper, you're neman. So Rashi, avoids a question. He says, the Rashi says, he looked in the shtar, and then you remember, if he didn't remember anything at all, he's just reading a shtar, or you would give the shtar into Beis Din. That doesn't help you over here. Here it means, according to Rabbi Yochanan, even though he says you can read it from the shtar, when he reads in the shtar, it comes back to his mind, and therefore he's testifying orally and not from the shtar, because otherwise your problem Mi'pi Ksavam. And Tosfos addresses this problem also. This is coming from Gemara Yevamos, Daf Lamed Aleph and Beis, where the Gemara says that we accept Edus' testimony Mi'pi, but they write it down, they write a shtar, and they give it into Beis Din. Presumably, even if they give it into Beis Din, they wrote it down when they witnessed the Edus, and they give it into Beis Din, it would be invalid. Mi'pi Ksavam. So the question that Rosh Kol asked me, which is the fundamental, I think Rav Chaim Brisker asked this question, is that how does the whole concept of a shtaros work, right? What's a shtar, right? A shtar, someone bought a house, he has a deed on the house, or he made a loan. As a shtar is collecting with the shtar, and you bring the shtar to Beis Din. This is the whole sugya we're talking about. If you give a shtar into the Beis Din, you're able to collect with that shtar normally. So how could it be? How could you be able to collect with that shtar, right? It should be Mi'pi Ksavam. So I think the common answer to give, and the answer I gave him, is that the parak makes very clear that you have to something have kiyum shtaros, meaning shtar is not necessarily believed by itself. Either midoraisa or presumably midorabanan is the way we paskin. You need to mekayim that shtar. You need to validate the shtar and prove that the edim who signed on the shtar are actually really those edim who signed, and it wasn't forged. So you have to be mekayim the shtar. So apparently a shtar is not good enough because Mi'pi Ksavam. And I'd like to give a little reason behind that, meaning when you write something down, when you say something from memory, you saw something happen, so an aid, right, is testimony based on you witnessed it, eyewitness testimony. You saw something, you remembered it. The way you remember it as it is, it is. If you write, once you write that down on a piece of paper, so therefore a lot of times you forget it. You forget what happened. And the second thing is, not only do you forget what happened, when you write something down, like when you write Chidushei Torah down, you have to make it make sense. That's why they always say you should write. Some people say you should write down your Chidushim, because it clarifies in your mind. It seems to make sense to you, but until you say it out, Rav Chaim actually says, I think, your mouth is like a knife, is like your finger testing the blade of a shechita knife to see whether there's a pagam or not, whether there's whether it's serrated or not. If it's serrated, it's possible for shechita. So your mouth is like that. And also, when you write down something, it makes you make sense. It makes you make sense out of it. So a lot of times, subconsciously or unconsciously, you're gonna write something that didn't actually happen, just so you might see something very confusing, just to make it make sense in your mind, because you're writing it down. It has to make sense on paper, right? So therefore, you might distort the facts. And that there's a reisa. A shtar is a reisa. When you write something down, there's a reisa that it's actually true or not. It's a reisa that's actually true or not, and that's why all shtaros technically are not really good enough by themselves, unless you verify the shtar. That's kiyum a shtar. I would say basically that a shtar is. Well, if you have a shtar, I think you can make an assumption that what's written in the shtar is true, but it's not enough to be motzi mamon. We said you need 80% proof. An assumption will be 75% proof. Once you have kiyum shtaros, like the word says muchzak, right? It's huchzak bebeistim, which is kiyum shtaros. So then you're adding to that, suffix. You're adding to that. I don't know. Yeah, you're adding to that, and you have maybe 100% proof, right? You're raglayim l'davar. You have 100% proof, and you can collect with that because that's, a good proof. So that's basically what I would say over here. That kiyum shtaros. That's the point of kiyum shtaros. It could be. So why would kiyum shtaros derabbanan? You should need a raisa. It could be Mi'pi Ksavam is only a chash derabbanan. Mi'pi Ksavam, meaning it could be that technically we could rely on a shtar to be motzi mamon, because maybe a shtar midoraisa is proof. We'll have to get into that. Maybe midoraisa shtar is proof. We'll get into more in the coming two dapim. Maybe shtar is a good valid proof midoraisa. It's 80% proof, but the Rabbanan said it's like by rov. We learned earlier in Daf Ted Zayin that when it's a ruba de leista kama, which is 80% proof, it's not good enough to be motzi mamon. Ruba de ispa, 90% proof is enough. So therefore, kiyum shtaros is needed because of a chash derabbanan. Mi'pi Ksavam is only a chash derabbanan. That's why kiyum shtaros comes to fill in that gap of Mi'pi Ksavam. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in Mishnah Yomi coming up next.